United States Central Command Commander General Michael Kurilla visits Israel amid rising tensions vis-à-vis the Islamic Republic of Iran. The Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps Navy seizes yet another Marshall Island-flagged oil tanker while transiting international waters in the Gulf of Oman. The United States, United Kingdom, and the European Union impose a fresh list of sanctions against Iran to promote accountability for the Iranian regime's human rights abuses. In the West Bank districts of Judea and Samaria, IDF, ISA or Shin Bet, and Border Police Special Operations Forces conducted intelligence-driven counter-terror activity overnight and early this morning, during the course of which 5 suspected terror operatives were apprehended. No extraordinary reports were issued, and the troops concluded their operational missions unharmed. Separately, U.S. Central Command Commander General Michael Kurilla arrived in Israel late last night as a guest of IDF Chief of General Staff Lieutenant General Herzi Halevi, nearly 3 months following his previous visit. Throughout the day today, General Kurilla held consecutive meetings at the IDF headquarters in Tel Aviv, during which extensive discussions were held on the latest developments throughout the greater Middle East, with chief focus on the aggressive behavior by the Islamic Republic of Iran and its proxies. It is interesting to know that while General Kurilla visits Israel, the Israeli daily Israel Hayom published a major report this morning in which it voiced alarm over a meaningful reduction of weapon stockpiles which are stored by the United States in Israel and which are earmarked for times of critical emergency. At the beginning of this year, part of this American stockpile, which includes rockets, mortars, and missiles, was transferred to Ukraine to support it in its war against Russia's invading forces. And while officially these weapons caches, which are physically situated in Israel, are allotted for use by the U.S. military in the region, there has been a decades-old understanding between Washington and Jerusalem that these stockpiles could be utilized by the IDF in the event of a wide-scale conflagration similar in magnitude to the 1973 Middle East War. Therefore, the diminishing number of munitions at a time when prospects of such a multi-front war against Iran and its regional proxies are seemingly on the rise, senior IDF officials have voiced concern to TV7 over the reduction of the American stockpiles in Israel, as well as a growing shortage in the West altogether, which is the core reason behind Washington's decision to divert munitions from Israel and elsewhere toward Ukraine. In conversations which TV7 held with 3 separate senior military sources from the United States, Europe, and Israel, all 3 highlighted a Western struggle to ratchet up production of munitions, with particular focus on artillery shells, to accommodate the excessive amount of firepower used by Ukraine, which amounts to roughly 5,000 rounds per each day. And while the United States manages to increase its production to roughly 50,000 artillery shells per month, its production capacity, alongside that of its European allies, have yet to fully accommodate the quantities required to accommodate Ukraine's
And yet, through all these challenges, Israel stands tall as a beacon of freedom in a troubled region, an engine of economic growth and opportunity, and a center of innovation and technology that is the envy of the world. Israel is also one of America's most valued and trusted allies. Maintaining a strong U.S.-Israel relationship has been a priority for me during my time in elective office, and I know it's been a priority for the overwhelming majority of the American people.
Governor DeSantis went on to assert the need for U.S. policy to recognize the truth about Jerusalem, while further voicing outrage over the absurdity of what appears to be systemic bias against Israel by the United Nations.
Jerusalem is, in fact, going back thousands of years, the eternal capital of the Jewish people. U.S. policy should recognize the truth. The U.S. has been proud to stand with Israel in the face of Israel being singled out for unprecedented and unfair international criticism and political attacks. UN resolutions since 2015. The UN has passed 125 condemnatory resolutions against Israel, but only 55 such resolutions
transiting international waters in the Gulf of Oman.
How could you
Important to know
possibly
that this oil
justify
tanker was
that
said
type
to
of
issue a distress call during the reported seizure. Meanwhile, the U.S. Fifth Fleet noted that it was monitoring the situation while the Naval Forces Central Command deplored Iran's actions, which it underscored are contrary to international law and disruptive to regional security and stability. Moreover, it stressed Iran's continued harassment of vessels and interference with navigational rights in regional waters, which the United States regards as a threat to maritime security and the global economy. It is further important to note that the IRGC has unlawfully seized at least 5 commercial vessels sailing in the Middle East in the past 2 years alone. Meanwhile, in Washington, the U.S. State Department announced that in cooperation with the United Kingdom and the European Union, it has imposed a fresh list of sanctions against the Islamic Republic of Iran to promote accountability for the Iranian regime's human rights abuses.
Yesterday, the United States took further action concurrently with the UK and the EU to promote accountability for the Iranian regime's human rights abuses. We imposed sanctions on 4 key commanders in Iran's IRGC and law enforcement forces. These individuals were linked to units implicated in some of the worst human rights abuses